3 swings you get. That thing is not moving. It's 2 feet from your face. You can't hit it with a baseball bat. I struck out. You know what that's gotta be like? Going home, your little kid strikes out a T-ball. Yay! You did a good job. Maybe sports is not for this one. And that's who I was. That's who I was. The little kid. The little kid who was always a little off. Always a little weird. Got in trouble when I was in preschool for putting too many marbles in my mouth. I wouldn't take them out, so they called my mom in from work. You know how upset you gotta be? You know how pissed off you gotta be? Think about that drive as a parent. You have a child, and they won't... I'm sorry, Mrs. Gutierrez, we can't get him to get the marbles out of his mouth. You're gonna have to come. She had to take her ass out of work, and you know she's gonna beat that little motherfucker. And she get there, and then there's too many people around, so she can't kick my ass. And I'm like, haha, Mom, you can't kick my ass. At one point, the faculty of my elementary school made the mistake of putting me in the gifted classes for 2 years. Hey, I don't know either. But they did. And they took me out for 2nd and 3rd grade, and they put me into what was called Challenge, with smart kid classes. And the Challenge kids got to go on the 2nd floor. No one else in the whole school got to. And I remember walking up those stairs all proud, and I'd be like, yeah, see you later, cretins, peace. And I'd walk up the stairs, and I'd go up there, but I was in those classes, but I was always the kid who was always getting the bad grades. I was the kid who had too much energy. The kid who was always trying to talk. Who knew? That one day. And I was the kid who, you know, when the teacher has to grab the desk of that one dude and slide it up against her desk and be like, I just need to keep my eye on you all the time. That was me. That was me. A spaz, weird, little, skinny, poor, gay. These are the words that I heard. These are the words that people threw at me. These were the insecurities that I bought into. And so I took that little piece of paper and I took out a pen and I wrote Chicago Marathon. Because man, what is out so far outside of my character? Well, outside of doing beer bongs and like a sports bar. But other than that, what is outside of my character? And so what did I do? I went out, I said, man, I wrote this thing down. I'm like, dude, I'll never do that. And then I was like, well, you know what? I want to run. So I went out and I bought a pair of crappy shoes, put them on my feet, went out and bought a pair of ridiculously short running shorts, put those on, and I said, you see that lamppost? I'm gonna run to that thing and run back. And I ran to it, and I ran back, and I was like, holy shit, that sucks. Because running sucks. I don't care who you are, I don't care how far you run, I don't care what you do. Anybody who tells you that running sucks is a liar. And it sucked. And the next day I was like, okay, you see that second one? I'm gonna run to that one. And I ran to that one, and I came back, and I was like, oh man, that sucked. But it didn't suck as much. And the next day I ran to that stoplight. And then I ran to the second stoplight. I kept running and kept running back. I didn't run because it made me lose weight. I didn't run because it made me feel better. I ran because running tells me that I can't do it. I'm running, and running looks back at me, and running says, man, you can't do this. Your lungs are burning. You're too small, you're too skinny, you're too weird, you're too gay, you kick your feet up. You kick your feet up, buddy. You know what people called you growing up? Fairy feet. People called me fairy feet because I kicked my little feet up. I didn't know I was having fun. And all my friends would be like, oh, look at fairy feet. Oh yeah, up to and including when I was in high school. I was telling this story in Chicago. And I was like, yeah, my friends just call me fairy feet. And I talk all my friends into coming out. I guilt them into it. I'm like, yo, man, you have to come out. It's right up the street. No, fine. I heard these stories 20 times, fine. And they sit there, and I was telling the story, and I saw a bunch of the dudes that I grew up with now who are all respectable dudes, or semi-respectable dudes. You know, they have, you know, houses and cars and wives and kids and 401ks, and they look over, and I'm telling the story, and they look over, and they're like, yeah, remember when we used to call fairy feet? Man, that shit's fun. That's who I was. I ran, and I never had a coach who taught me how to run correctly. I kept running, just kept running, because it told me not to.